Good, beautiful afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for being here, clicking on the videos, showing up, stopping on in, and just being here. I appreciate you coming on in. As we dive into a little bit of music from Yussef days, we're going to listen to the track Love is the Message, a live recording at Abbey Road Studios, released in 2018. We're giving this a listen because it was suggested and sponsored by Hiram. Hiram, thank you so much for the recommendation. Thanks so much for the request as well. I truly appreciate that. Yussef Diaz, I've definitely seen his name. I've definitely seen his name in many respects in jazz, in modern jazz, but I can't quite tell you where if I've heard him before, if I've heard tracks that he's featured in. I see that this particular track features Alfa, of who I am slightly familiar. I've heard a few of his tracks. Mansur, Brown, Rocco, Palladino. Can't say that I've heard of those two. But like I said, Yussef's name is definitely in my periphery, but I can't speak to as if I've actually ever heard anything specifically by him. And I don't want to say yes. I don't want to say no. His album, Black Classical Music, I have on one of my want list, but that's as far as I know. So there's always a chance I've heard something from him, but I don't want to say for sure because I can't say. But we're going to at least discover him now. So let's go and listen to this track. We'll discuss it a little bit after. Here we go. It's deep. It's a deep kick. Yep. this roll. It was almost like it stumbled into this light. I gotta remember that. I really gotta remember that. Just settled into that. I like how everything backed off except the bass and the guitar, but little keys in the back. That was rudiments. That was just rudiments on the hi-hat at speed. Just like that, they unplug it and shut it down. Yep. That's perfect. That's perfect. That is fitting right now so perfectly as well into my current listening pattern, because right now in the past month, I would say, heavily in the past 3 weeks, but in the past month, jazz has been like my main exploration, like off the channel. Like I kind of go through a lot of phases where like I basically hear like a specific genre when I explore something and I just dive deep into that rabbit hole. And right now, jazz has been that for me. I mean, that's why, you might notice like, recently I got this album. It's quickly shout out to my favorites. Cat by Hiroshi Suzuki, one of the best jazz albums I've heard. And like, I bet you if I pull up my Stats FM, I bet you that jazz is like in my top. And this track fits so well into what I consider a part of great modern jazz. There's a lot of great jazz going on right now in so many different directions. You have stuff like this. Who am I thinking of? It's not a well known band, but there's a band called KAU, Cow. I don't know how they're pronounced, but they're close to like a jazz fusion kind of thing. But like, just there's so many groups and bands popping off right now. Here you go. Genres. Top genres in the last 4 weeks: jazz, fusion, jazz, art, rock, progressive rock, rock, and electronic. Yeah, I've been listening to a lot of jazz as of late. Okay, so Yussef is the drummer. I love drummers like Yussef and the way that they playing with the rhythm so much, especially on the back half of each of the sections, because basically this track is like two dividing sections, right? You have the rising into those climaxes that happen twice. You have two peaks in this track, and I like how in those rises and slightly in the aftermath of that, that's where Yussef is like really able to kind of expand his wings when it comes to the drumming. But I love the way that he drums here because there's a lot of playfulness and subtlety without taking away from the music. So, especially in the second half of the track, I noticed it a lot more in the space, like that, like just little things like that, or that. Like it's almost like soloing and not pretending, and performing a drum solo without being like perhaps a traditional jazz solo, in which really all the music stops and we have a space that's dedicated to a solo that maybe doesn't even fit exactly within the pattern that was set before from the jazz standard, but it moves into a different direction. I really like these kinds of rhythmic changes when creative drummers bring that kind of into the music, and I think that he does a fantastic job in moments like that, where there's a lot of space, a lot of sparse musical activity, and that kind of gives himself in this particular case, but really it applies to all the musicians to kind of play in that space a little bit. Think of like space in the universal way, like space, like there's a lot of space, it's a lot of emptiness, and yet there's a cohesion to it. But you got little stars and nebulas and systems and different things happening in that space, and they can take on many different shapes, forms, colors, etc. I feel like that's what we get here, basically, in the music, and I really enjoyed that. Like I said, I'm not as familiar with besides Alfa, who's the keyboardist. I am familiar with him. I'm not familiar with Mansur Brown or Rocco Palladino, but I do see here that Mansur Brown is the guitarist here, and I love that we have a cool, jazzy, but like powerful, near psychedelic experience with the guitar here, especially in the first half, in which it plays a lot of lead, a lot of ambience, eventually building up into a blazing solo. And I love just how subtle it moves and melodically it moves throughout most of the track. There's moments where, yeah, it heats up and it gets to that boiling point, but a lot of times it's very understated, even when it's leading. Even when it's leading, it's very understated. So I like how he plays just beneath the surface, just like if you're looking down into the ocean, like from sky down into the ocean, he's a shadow. He's a form, a shape that's looming underneath the surface, and you can't quite tell what it is until for a few moments he breaks up and breaks through the surface tension of the ocean. And I just really enjoyed the way that he played throughout. Now, you have bass from Rocco Palladino, who is he related to Pino Palladino? Because from, well, wrong button, but please, sure, why not? We'll use that button because yes, he is. There you go, son of Pino Palladino. So that just makes sense. And he has followed in his father's footsteps and providing some really groovy bass here. And I love when he uses those deeper notes and those tones on the bass to kind of have a bigger effect in music like this. One of my favorite tracks, you know what? I'll share something with you. One of my favorite tracks of all time, and it's a track that I heard when I was in high school. I doubt it's a very well-known song. It's actually a remix of a Street Fighter song from Cammy's theme. Cammy's one of the characters in Street Fighter, and it's her theme song. But it's a remix of that. And I've always loved the jazziness of it. I'm going to see if I can pull it up here. It actually literally is one of my favorite songs of all time. I don't know who knows about it. People from the LimeWire days. But this is the remix here. So I'm just going to play a sample of it. God, I love that, man, from the first second. Okay, it's a fantastic piece of music, and man, only 14,000 views. Look at this, man. Look at this. Some of us. Sometimes I involve myself. But the point I'm getting to is when I hear a bass kind of lurch down into that deep note and provide a nice resonance, especially when it's done melodically in tune with keys or guitar or whatever it might be, it reverberates in my soul, I guess you could say. And so I love the times when Palladino did that, when he kind of swept down into those lower notes to provide a splash into music, a little bit of a dropping the rock in the ocean, and allow that to ripple out in a really cool way. Let's talk about some moments in here. Did I say it was around 5 minutes it happened? This is the peak. This is the first peak. Listen to the transition. I love the transition off of this stuff. Watch. Gotta let it ride a little bit. Hold on, let me skip a little bit. Let it cool down. Let it cool down. I think that that's one of the best transitions I've heard in a while. From just utter climactic euphoria to this cool kind of stumble in the drum pattern there, because it feels like it's a stumble. It feels like, you know, when you're walking down the street, you know, and you trip on something, but instead of like tripping and, you know, saying you made a mistake, like you trip and you just start running. Because that's what he did. He tripped, but then kept running. He was kind of pulling a Three Stooges routine. He's kind of pulling a Chaplin there where he stumbles, but he uses it as an art form. And so I love how the drums performed right there. And then used that stumble, kept it going for a little bit, and then stopped it, cooled it down, brought it down into a very cool and subtle pattern here, of which is filled with more space than even the beginning of the track. And that's the space that I described in the beginning where they're really allowed to kind of play in the atmosphere. Mansur kind of tones things down just briefly, goes more in the background. And this is when I think the groove begins to abstract itself, but still play very, very coolly. Yeah, rhythm section is just wonderful there. And the beginning is very, very tight too. Some really cool build up into the song. And I love how, like I said, Mansur takes charge here on this one. And the final climax, I'm skipping to that. This has a big, majestic melody to it. And I love when they really start to bring that spirited approach there at the end of this. This was a phenomenal performance, a phenomenal track, a great listen, and like I said, literally perfectly in tune with what I've been listening to recently. I've been putting a lot of jazz like playlist on, specifically Japanese jazz. Like that's what I've really been listening to. Let me see. Yeah, I've been listening to a lot of Japanese jazz like playlist, Japanese jazz collection, Japanese jazz for driving on a warm summer night, 70s and 80s Japanese jazz fusion. That's just what I've been. I'm looking through all my recent listens there. Yeah, this was perfectly in line and a fantastic request and recommendation. Let me know what you all thought of it down below in the comments. I appreciate you all joining me here. Hiram, thank you so much for an excellent request. Really enjoyed that. And I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Come back tomorrow, and I will see you all then. Bye.